Angel made a bet with each other on this game. Is that bet still?
This is how the rich.
At All-Star Weekend, you and Angel made a bet with each other on this game. Is that bet still?
This is how the rich stay rich.
You gotta save this money. I'm gonna see you next week on Wednesday.
Yeah.
At night?
No, at practice.
Oh, at practice?
I mean, I know y'all gonna lose, but if y'all lose,
I get to have that.
if y'all win, you get 400.
And if we lose, then
That exchange sounds playful. But the moment money, two active players, and the result of a WNBA game entered the same conversation, the joke stopped being simple.
This was a bet made at All-Star Weekend about last night's game. This was a bet that they were talking about at All-Star Weekend on last night's game. And then the craziest part is Angel Reese, after the game, admits she made a bet with Paige Bueckers saying, yeah, I'll be requesting my Apple Pay after this. Folks, I'm telling you.
And that post-game Apple Pay reference is why this story exploded. Angel Reese and Paige Bueckers were not discussing a random shooting contest, a dinner bill, or who could win a card game. They were talking about the result of a matchup involving their own teams. That does not prove point shaving. It does not prove game fixing. It does not prove either player intentionally changed a possession. Anyone making that leap is running far beyond the available evidence. But it does create a legitimate integrity question, because professional leagues write gambling rules to prevent even the appearance that a player has a personal financial interest connected to a game. The most important part is not just what the players said. It is what the league itself did with the footage, why the post disappeared, and what happened once the WNBA was forced to explain it. That answer comes later, and it changes which part of this controversy deserves the most scrutiny.
Now you take a look at the WNBA rulebook. Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham would be banned from the WNBA for gambling, but they don't do it because they are classy. Based on the rules, Paige Bueckers and Angel Reese should be banned. Any player found by the commissioner after a hearing to have been guilty of wagering directly or indirectly, or of offering or attempting to wager money or anything of value on the outcome, score, or any other aspect of any WNBA competition shall, in the sole discretion of the commissioner, be subject to a fine, suspension, and/or dismissal and disqualification from any further association with the W.
That is the section that matters. The language described in the video is broad. Directly or indirectly wagering money or anything of value on the outcome, score, or another aspect of a WNBA competition can expose a player to discipline at the commissioner's discretion. Notice what the rule does not say. It does not say the wager must be placed through a sportsbook. It does not say the amount must be large. It does not say the player must profit enough to affect her life. It does not create a special exception for friends joking at All-Star Weekend. The reason leagues write these policies broadly is that once intent becomes the only standard, enforcement becomes almost impossible. Every player could describe a wager as harmless after the fact. But there is another crucial phrase, after a hearing. That means a viral clip is not supposed to replace a process. The league must determine what was actually agreed to, whether money changed hands, whether both players understood the conversation as a real wager, and whether the conduct fits the language of the collective bargaining agreement. A commentator can demand the maximum penalty in 5 seconds. A professional league has to establish the facts first. So the case is serious enough to review, but the rule itself does not automatically prove the most extreme accusation. A possible gambling policy violation and a fixed basketball game are two completely different claims, and confusing them weakens the argument instead of strengthening it.
What we are surprised by is that the WNBA is actually stupid enough to admit it. That the WNBA is actually stupid, not only to admit it, but to put a clip of players confessing to it and then saying, oh damn, did we just do?
This is where the commentary moves from a real question into an unsupported conclusion. The league posting a clip that appears to show a friendly $400 wager may demonstrate terrible judgment. It may demonstrate that the social media team did not recognize the implications. It may even show that the WNBA has failed to communicate its own policies clearly enough inside the organization. What it does not demonstrate is that the league admitted to rigging games. There is no evidence in this video of altered betting accounts, suspicious communications with gamblers, manipulated injury information, coordinated officiating, or an agreement to control the score. Those are the kinds of facts investigators would look for in an actual game integrity case. Without them, calling the entire league a money laundering operation is not analysis. It is an allegation. The distinction matters because viewers deserve to know what is verified and what is speculation. The verified core is already damaging. Two high-profile players were recorded discussing money tied to their teams. Result, the league promoted the exchange and the post was removed after criticism. That is enough for a strong story. There is no need to manufacture evidence that the public has not seen. And once the accusation becomes bigger than the facts, the WNBA gets an easy escape. Instead of answering why the clip was posted, league defenders can focus on the wildest claims and dismiss the entire controversy as internet hysteria.
Folks, if this was, look, WNBA deletes posted Paige Bueckers injury risk making bet on their game. Leave it to the WNBA to create a potential gambling scandal of its own making involving two of its most high-profile stars. The league's official X account posted, and since deleted, these idiots posted it. That's not Kathy Engelbert's, well, it is Kathy Engelbert. It's whoever hires these people. That's whose fault it is. You hire idiots.
The deletion is one of the clearest facts in the entire story, and it raises a question the WNBA cannot answer by pretending the post never existed. Someone filmed the exchange, someone edited it, someone approved the caption, someone published it through an official league account. At multiple stages, an employee or supervisor had the opportunity to ask a basic question: are we posting two active players discussing money connected to a game they are about to play? That is not a tiny social media typo. Sports leagues now operate inside an ecosystem filled with official betting partners, live odds, prop markets, fantasy contests, and constant integrity messaging. Players receive education because one careless conversation can damage public confidence. A league account should be operating with at least the same awareness. Deleting the clip was understandable once the problem became obvious, but deletion without immediate context made the situation look worse. It created the impression that the league recognized a violation only after fans pointed it out. It also allowed copies of the video to circulate without the WNBA controlling the explanation. This is the first major institutional failure in the story. Even if the exchange was entirely playful, the league converted a private joke into an official piece of promotional content. The WNBA did not merely react to the controversy. Its own account helped create it.
Get on the damn You pull some DraftKings numbers, you pull some FanDuel numbers, you take a look at some over, some under, you'll be like, wait a second. Wait a second. What's going on over here? What's going on over here in the WNBA? Now, I want to be fair to Angel Reese here. I want to be fair to Angel Reese here because it's starting to make sense.
Calling for sportsbook data is reasonable only if there is a specific reason to believe suspicious betting occurred. Investigators can examine unusual line movement, abnormal wagering patterns, linked accounts, communication records, or bets placed with insider information. But none of that evidence appears in the source material. The money discussed here was reportedly a personal $400 wager between the players. That is still potentially covered by the league's rule, but it is not the same as secretly placing thousands of dollars through DraftKings or FanDuel. Accuracy matters because the public hears the word gambling and immediately imagines organized criminal activity, point shaving, and corrupted results. There is also a fairness issue. If evidence later emerges showing a larger scheme, the league should be investigated aggressively. If the evidence remains a lighthearted personal exchange, the response should be proportionate while still enforcing the policy. Integrity is not protected by treating every violation as identical. It is protected by investigating consistently and explaining the result transparently. The league's credibility depends on whether fans believe rules apply before a scandal becomes viral. That means the WNBA should be able to answer simple questions. Was there a real transfer of money? Did both players understand the bet as genuine? Were team or league officials aware of it before the game? Was the matter reviewed by integrity personnel? Those answers are more valuable than a dramatic demand for federal agents based on one edited clip.
This is during the game. Angel Reese was pissed her teammates didn't pass her the ball. The next possession, she got swatted. Here it is. Ryan Howard sees Angel Reese wide open. Ryan Howard says, nah, you're trash. Hell out of here. You're trash. I'm not giving you the ball. Oh, give me the ball. That's what Angel Reese is saying in turn. Oh, give me the ball. I gotta miss this layup. And then the very next possession, you can't make this up. Look at her teammates. Angel, it's okay, Angel. It's okay. It's okay. We saw you. It's
Now look at how quickly ordinary basketball emotion gets repackaged as evidence. Angel Reese wants the ball. A teammate chooses another option. Reese reacts. On the next possession, the defense makes a play. That sequence may show frustration. It may show a player demanding involvement. It may show imperfect decision-making by the offense. None of it establishes that Reese wanted her team to lose. Players complain for touches in every league. Stars get angry when they are open. Teammates miss reads. Possessions break down. If every frustrated gesture becomes proof of corruption after someone mentions a wager, then any game can be edited into a conspiracy. The actual July 29th game cuts against the idea that Reese was deliberately sabotaging Atlanta. The Dream erased a 15-point deficit and won 82-81. Reese finished with 22 points and 12 rebounds. That does not automatically resolve the policy question, because a player can violate a wagering rule even while competing hard. But it matters when evaluating the far more serious accusation that she intentionally performed badly. This is why responsible commentary separates conduct from outcome. The conduct under review is the conversation about $400. The outcome was a 1-point Atlanta victory in which Reese produced a double-double. Those facts can exist together without proving a fixed game. The controversy remains real, but the strongest version is about judgment and rules, not a theory that every emotional possession exposes a hidden plan.
Next possession, oh, perfect entry pass right over Jessica Shepard. Angel Reese has it down low. Blah, bay, shout out to the boat. Getting blocked by Lee from 3. Here we go. Angel Reese with a wide open layup to cut the lead to 6. Oh, Angel Reese with a wide open layup. They're running. She gets the pass. One dribble, wide open. Bang!
A missed layup is visually powerful because everyone understands it instantly. The basket is close. The player is open. The shot does not fall. But basketball evidence cannot be judged like a movie scene. Angel Reese has missed shots around the rim before this controversy, and she will miss them after it. So will elite players across professional basketball. One bad finish does not reveal intent. To prove deliberate underperformance, investigators would need a pattern connected to the wager, communications showing an agreement, or statistical behavior that cannot reasonably be explained by normal play. The video provides none of that. The dangerous part is that the game ended by 1 point. Close finishes invite people to replay every turnover, whistle, missed free throw, and questionable decision as though one moment secretly controlled the final result. Dallas led by 15 before Atlanta's comeback. Paige Bueckers finished with 16 points and 6 assists. Reese helped Atlanta win. A chaotic fourth quarter is not unusual evidence of manipulation. It is one of the reasons people watch basketball. Still, the players put themselves in a terrible position. Once you attach money to the result, even jokingly, every mistake becomes suspicious to somebody. That is exactly why the rule exists. It protects the league, but it also protects players from having ordinary errors interpreted as criminal behavior. So the responsible conclusion is uncomfortable for both extremes. The wager discussion should not be ignored, and the missed layup should not be presented as proof of point shaving. The facts support scrutiny. They do not support certainty.
Yeah, if this was NBA players, they'd be investigated. Let's call a spade a spade. If these were 2 NBA players, they'd be investigated. Especially 2 high-profile players. Oh yeah, the NBA's opened up an investigation. Cash Patel's looking into this. And we already know the FBI's been cracking down on the NBA. Damon Jones knows that. Chauncey Billups knows that. Terry Rozier knows that.
The comparison to men's professional sports is where this debate becomes broader than Paige Bueckers and Angel Reese. Fans have watched athletes in other leagues receive serious punishment for betting-related violations, sometimes even when the conduct did not involve fixing a game. That history creates an expectation of consistency. But consistency does not mean every case receives the same punishment. It means the same principles are used. What was wagered? What competition was involved? Did the player participate? Was the conduct intentional? Was there deception? Was insider information used? Did money actually change hands? Did the player cooperate? Those details shape discipline. The WNBA cannot claim gambling integrity is essential and then act as if a $400 wager on a game involving both players is meaningless. At the same time, critics cannot demand lifetime bans without allowing the league to establish what happened. A credible system must avoid both selective enforcement and punishment by viral outrage. The comparison also exposes a communications problem. Other leagues have learned that silence creates a vacuum. When fans do not know whether a review is happening, they assume favoritism. When a star is involved, every delay looks like protection. When the league itself posted the evidence, the suspicion becomes even stronger. That is why the WNBA needed to say more than simply deleting the clip. The public did not need private disciplinary files, but it did need a clear acknowledgement that the policy applied, that the exchange was reviewed, and that the league understood why the post damaged trust.
Let me just say this. If nothing happens to these 2 ladies, there is a clear double standard when it comes to holding men accountable and when it comes to holding women accountable. If Paige and Angel don't get held accountable, I dare NBA players to do this. they might not only be getting suspended, they might actually get kicked out the league. Doesn't matter how big, how small. If NBA players are caught doing this, let alone post a video doing this, those players might not only get...
The double standard argument sounds powerful because Paige and Angel are major names, but the right test is not whether an NBA player would be destroyed on social media. The right test is what the written policy requires and how comparable cases have been handled. Public popularity should not create immunity. It also should not create a harsher penalty just because a player attracts clicks. Paige Bueckers and Angel Reese deserve the same process as less famous players, and fans deserve to see that the process is real. There is another problem with predicting the outcome before the investigation. If critics announce that the league will protect the players no matter what, then any penalty short of expulsion becomes proof of a cover-up. That standard makes honest evaluation impossible. A fine can be appropriate in one case. A suspension can be appropriate in another. Permanent disqualification should require evidence serious enough to justify ending a career. The most defensible demand is not automatic banishment. It is transparency. Explain whether the $400 was real. Explain whether it was paid. Explain which policy was applied. Explain why the chosen response was proportionate. When a league refuses to show its reasoning, it teaches fans that star power matters more than rules. And this is where the story changed after the original commentary was recorded, because the WNBA eventually did respond. That response did not prove game fixing. It did reveal exactly how the league planned to contain the incident.
NBA, if I had to guess, a fine is what's going to take place. I doubt they're going to be suspended. I doubt they're going to be dismissed from the league. I highly doubt it.
The WNBA said the social media post was intended to be lighthearted but missed the mark. The league said players receive annual training on policies prohibiting betting on WNBA games, that the post was removed, and that the matter was addressed internally. It also said the incident would be used to re-emphasize that even joking conversations about wagering can produce negative consequences. That statement confirms several important points. First, the league did not defend the post. It acknowledged that publishing it was a mistake. Second, the WNBA did not pretend its gambling policy was unclear. It said players already know the rules and receive repeated training. Third, the league chose internal handling rather than a public spectacle. The Associated Press also reported, citing a person with direct knowledge who spoke anonymously, that the players would not be punished. Because that detail came from an unnamed source rather than a formal disciplinary announcement, it should be described as reported, not treated as an official public ruling. But if accurate, it creates the central accountability question. How can the league say the policy is strict, say the players are trained every year, acknowledge that the post crossed a line, and then impose no punishment at all? There may be an explanation. The league may have concluded there was no genuine wager, no money changed hands, or the exchange was an obvious joke that did not meet the disciplinary standard. But the public statement did not provide those details. Addressed internally tells fans that something happened behind closed doors. It does not show why the result was fair. This is the payoff the original outrage was circling without reaching. The evidence does not establish a fixed game. The more defensible scandal is that the WNBA created the optics, removed the evidence, admitted the post was wrong, and then offered too little detail to demonstrate consistent enforcement.
Do that. Oh, we gotta delete. The WNBA, as I've said for a long time now, it's a money laundering scheme. It's money laundering. It's money washing. You name it. The WNBA, FBI needs to look into this league. The FBI needs to look into this league. Screw Congress. Let's get the FBI on the case. Angel Reese and Paige Bueckers confessing.
That is also why the FBI language goes too far. Federal investigators do not open a game-fixing case because a commentator finds a clip suspicious. They need evidence of a possible crime. A league policy violation can be serious without being criminal, and treating those categories as interchangeable confuses viewers. There is no verified evidence presented here that the WNBA launders money. There is no verified evidence that Reese or Bueckers coordinated a result. There is no verified evidence connecting the $400 conversation to sportsbook accounts or outside gamblers. Those allegations should not be repeated as facts, but removing the wildest claims does not rescue the league. In some ways, it makes the criticism stronger. You do not need an FBI raid to see the failure. The league knew wagering conversations were sensitive. Its players were trained on the subject. Its own media staff still packaged the exchange as entertainment. When the backlash arrived, the clip vanished. The eventual statement admitted the content missed the mark but left the public without a detailed explanation of the internal review. That sequence creates a trust problem. Fans are being asked to accept that the matter was harmless while receiving almost none of the facts that produced that conclusion. And because the game ended 82-81 after a 15-point comeback, the lack of clarity gives conspiracy theories perfect material. A mature league should understand that gambling integrity is not only about preventing corruption, it is about preventing avoidable suspicion. The WNBA failed at that second responsibility before the ball was even tipped.
Leave it to the WNBA to create a potential gambling scandal of its own making involving two of its most high-profile stars. The league's official X account posted, and since deleted, these idiots posted it. That's not Kathy Engelbert's, well, it is Kathy Engelbert. It's whoever hires these people. That's whose fault it is. You hire idiots. That's our problem too. They hire idiots. We know the people in the front offices, in the executive roles, we know they're all idiots, yet we expect them to behave like non-fools.
The final issue is competence. The video argues that the league keeps hiring people who do not understand the consequences of their decisions. The language becomes needlessly insulting, but the underlying criticism deserves attention. Professional sports organizations cannot separate content strategy from integrity policy anymore. The person chasing engagement on social media may be handling footage that affects player discipline, sponsor relationships, betting partners, and public confidence. That means approvals need to be more sophisticated than asking whether a clip is funny. A simple internal review should have stopped this post. The caption itself reportedly highlighted the bet. The players were identifiable. The matchup was imminent. The league's own policy prohibited wagering on its games. Every warning sign was visible before publication. The WNBA now has two choices. It can treat this as a one-day embarrassment, allow the controversy to disappear, and hope fans forget. Or it can explain the standard clearly, disclose enough of the review to show why discipline was or was not appropriate, and create a content approval process that prevents another self-inflicted integrity crisis. Paige Bueckers and Angel Reese should not be branded as game fixers without evidence. They also should not be placed above legitimate scrutiny because the exchange looked friendly. Both truths matter. The most damaging fact is not a missed layup, a frustrated gesture, or a one-point final score. It is that the league itself took a conversation about money and a game result, turned it into promotional content, then had to admit the post missed the mark. That is an institutional mistake, and institutions lose trust when they answer mistakes with vague language instead of clear reasoning. So choose the standard you want. Should a friendly wager involving active players and their own game bring a public penalty because the rule appears broad? Or should the WNBA close the matter with an internal warning because there is no evidence of corrupted competition? Tell me which response protects the league's credibility without turning speculation into guilt. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your answer in the comments.